Hello guys, I am Jasmeet and welcome to Blogging Unplugged. On this channel you will find information related to WordPress, blogging, product tutorials, updates and other related topics. Now in today's video we are going to talk about what's new in Elementor 3.6. Now this update is for the free version of the plugin, which means anyone using the Elementor page builder plugin will get access to all the new features included in this update. Now coming to the features included, this version of the plugin comes with one of the most awaited features known as the Flexbox Containers. Now as of now, Flexbox Containers has been released in Elementor experiments, which means this feature is still under development and it is not recommended that you use it on a live website. Now, however, it is recommended that you familiarize yourself with this new feature as it will give you a new way of creating a more flexible way of creating layouts with Elementor, which are powered by the CSS Flexbox module. Now, in case you are not familiar with Flexbox, then let me tell you this is a one-dimensional layout model that allows you to make the best use of space by distributing it amongst the items, allowing you to basically adjust their heights and widths. Now on top of this layout model also allows you to align or order items so that you can make the design responsive or device friendly so that your website looks perfect on every screen size. Now before we learn more about the Flexbox containers, it is important to know that Elementor has created a free Flexbox playground. Now using this playground you can familiarize yourself with this new feature. Now I'll leave a link to that in the description box below. Now coming to the topics covered, we have divided this video into 6 parts. In the first part we have covered where you will find the Flexbox container experiments and how can you enable it on your website. Now the second part is all about the changes that you will see after this experiment. The third part is the important one where we have covered the conversion of section column layout into the Flexbox containers, and this will be followed up by the 3 features that comes with the Flexbox containers, which are the clickable sections, the responsive controls and the nesting of containers. Now just like every video, you will find the timestamps in the description box below along with the links to our socials. Now it is important to know that some of the links in the description box below are affiliate links, which means we'll make a small commission if you decide to make a purchase using our link. Now this will come at no extra cost to you but will help support the channel. And with that said, I will start the screen sharing, and in the meantime you make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Hello guys and welcome to the screen capture of this video. Now the first topic that we are going to discuss is the new Flexbox container experiment in Elementor 3.6. Now to see this experiment, what we have to do is we have to go to Elementor, then click settings right over here and then click the experiments tab. Now doing this will show us all of the Elementor experiments, and here we need to scroll down and there you will find the Flexbox container experiment. Now the first thing that you will see here is that this experiment is currently by default inactive. Now the reason behind this is its status is alpha and it is under the ongoing experiments, which means Elementor is as of now working on it. Now before we activate the Flexbox experiment, it is important to know that we do not recommend using it on a live website, and the reason behind this is Elementor is currently working to improve it and release it as a stable features. Now you can see right over here stable features, all of these are active. However, some of the ongoing experiments are active. Now the ones that are in alpha are disabled by default, inactive by default. Now to experience this feature, you can use it on any of your test websites or localhost websites. Okay, so make sure you do not use it on any of your live websites. To activate the Flexbox experiment, what you need to do is you need to click this default right over here, this drop down, and click active and then go down to the bottom and click save changes. Now when you will save changes, you will see this green active sign right over here. Now this means the Flexbox container experiment is now active on your website. Now that you have successfully activated the Flexbox container experiment in Elementor, this takes us to the next topic that we are going to discuss in this video, which is what happens when you activate this experiment. Now to show you the changes of what happens after activating the Flexbox container, what I have done here is I have opened two tabs here in the browser, where the first tab has the Flexbox container active and the second tab has the Flexbox container as inactive. Now this will be used for comparison purposes basically. On top of this, what I have done is I have created two posts, very similar posts. One is this one and the other one here in the second tab. Both these posts you can see right over here. Now both these posts have very similar section added to them, and what we will see is what will happen once you activate the Flexbox container in Elementor. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit these posts with Elementor and show you the difference. For that, let's just click edit with Elementor right over here and edit with Elementor right over here. Now, the first visible change that you will see is that the inner section widget or element is gone and has been replaced by the container. Now, let's just go to the second tab, which is right over here, and you see the intersection. Widget, and that has been replaced by the container widget. Now what this exactly means is after you have activated the Flexbox container, you won't be able to use the section column layout or intersection column layout in your designs. Okay, the container will be replacing the legacy layout options or the legacy layout widgets, whatever you can call it. Okay, now this change takes us to two important questions that are associated with the Elementor Flexbox container experiments, which are, now the first question is basically what happens to the older pages or the sections created using the intersection column layout widget. Now for this, what I have done is I have added two identical blocks on both the pages. You can see one is right over here and the other one is right over here. Now these blocks are free blocks that are given by Elementor themselves, and these are created using the older intersection column widgets. Okay, so what I am going to do is I'm going to click this on the Flexbox tab right over here, and we are going to see if you can edit these or not. Okay, so let me just click this. Now you can see right over here, Elementor gives you basically the option to change whatever is that you want to change. Now let us go to the second tab and select this column. Now you see the exact options are present over here. Now what this means is Elementor still supports the older legacy layout options even though you have activated the new Flexbox container. Now you can edit any parts of this section. You can make whatever changes is that you want to make, but you cannot use the inner section widgets anymore, because that is not available. You can see right over here, you can make whatever changes is that you want to make, but when it comes to adding the intersection widget, you will not find that option. Instead, you will have to use the container. Now, when it comes to making changes to the complete section, which is this one, you still get access to all of the layout options. You can see right over here, and let me go back and edit this section. You will see, you will get access to all of the, settings, all of the layout options, all of the style settings. You can see right over here all of the style settings, all of the advanced tabs, everything you still get access to. However, if you are looking to create a new section using the inner section and column layout, you won't be able to do that. You will have to use the Flexbox container. Now, this is the answer to the first question, which is Elementor still supports the legacy intersection and column layouts even when you activate the new Flexbox container. Okay, so this must be very clear to you. In case you have any questions regarding this, just feel free to comment down below and I will try and help. Now the second question that is associated with the new Flexbox containers in Elementor is, will the conversion from the old legacy layout options to the new Flexbox container easy? Now the answer to this question is right on the screen. You can see right over here, Elementor gives you this option to convert the old sections and column layout to the new Flexbox using just one click of a button, which is this one. Okay, now but here's the thing, here's a word of caution. I have done countless conversions as of now before creating this video, and it has worked perfectly fine for us. But in situations where you have a complex layout, I think this option can give you some trouble. Now in situations where things don't work perfectly fine, what you need to do is you will have to edit the edit the elements that are not working as expected, or you will have to rebuild the section from the start. Now again, Flexbox in Elementor is right now an ongoing experiment and is not a stable feature. So Elementor will be making all the efforts to make this process, to make this transition as smooth as possible. On top of this, Elementor is supporting the older section and column layout options. So obviously you can make changes to them. Okay, so keep this in mind, that do you really want to transition from the older sections to the new Flexbox, or the older sections work fine for you? In situations where they are working fine, then let them be. Okay, you can always make changes to them. Why waste time on something that doesn't, basically require your time? Now, in case you are looking to transition your client websites to, the new Flexbox container layouts, in that situation, I will recommend, factoring in the time and these challenges in with the money. Okay, so make sure you add up the costs beforehand. You start making these changes, because of course if it goes fine, it's amazing. If it doesn't, then it will cost you time that you would want to get paid for. So make sure you factor in the time and the costs with it. Now again, I am going to say the same old thing that I have said 15 times before. This is currently in experiments. It is an ongoing experiment, that is an alpha, not recommended for live websites. So we will be waiting with our fingers crossed that this convert to container feature works perfectly as we want it to be. Now, while we are on the topic of conversion of the inner section column layouts to the new Flexbox containers in Elementor, And you know that you can do that with just one click using this button right over here. What I am going to do is I am going to click this convert button and we are going to see what happens next. What this option will do is it will create a replica of this section right below it over here in the Flexbox using the Flexbox containers. Now you will still have this section, but you will have an exact same replica of it created using Flexbox container right below it. So you will have both of these. You will have this in section in the inner section column layer, and you will have another one right over here using the new Flexbox container. So for that, let's just click convert and see if the conversion process is as simple as just a click of a button, which it is for right now. This is a simple section, it will convert. So now I have clicked this convert and you see your changes have been updated and it has created a Flexbox container. You can see container Flexbox right over here. This is the icon for the container. This is the container. Okay, let's just right click, go to navigator, and you will see section, column, heading, container, heading, text box, container. Okay, and in this container is another container and is a button right over here. Okay, so this conversion was quite simple. Now, in situations where things do not go as per plan, in that situation, again, I am letting you know that you will have to make a certain changes or you will have to rebuild those sections from scratch. So keep this in mind. Now that we have successfully converted a section into the new Flexbox container, the next topic that we are going to discuss is an introduction of a new feature that allows you to create clickable containers with just a click of a button. Now, to show you this option, what I am going to do is I'm going to first take you to the settings of this container right over here, and then I am going to take you to the Flexbox container and show you the difference. So for that, let me close this navigator, and what happens is let me click this. Now in the layout options of the inner section or this section, what you will find is the HTML tag right at the bottom. It allows you to select an HTML tag for this section. Okay, so what happens here is that you can select any of these tags. It could be a div, header, footer, main, article, section, a site, or nav, depending on how the semantics of your site works. Now this HTML tag dropdown is missing a crucial tag, which is the anchor tag or the linking tag that allows you to basically make your complete section clickable. Add a link to the complete section. Okay, now this option has been introduced in Flexbox containers. So for that, what I am going to do is I am going to edit this Flexbox container, and there is the HTML tag drop down, and there is the A tag. Now what happens when I click this A tag? It shows me the option to add a link. Okay, now when I will add a link here, what it will do is it will make the complete section clickable. Now, if you have been creating websites using Elementor, then you must be familiar with the fact that at times you will have to make the clickable elements more prominent so that the users don't have to search for where to click. Now, Elementor has given you now this option to select this A tag where you can make the entire section as clickable and make the interface more intuitive, where users don't have to search for those clickable elements. The whole section is basically a link, and basically users can use that to navigate to other parts of the website or other websites in general. Now, when you select this A tag right over here, you get this option to add the link. You can add your link right over here. Now, just like other linking options, you get the option to basically add no follow attribute to the link and open in new window or new tab, whatever you can call it. Now, this is a very useful feature that comes with the new Flexbox containers in Elementor. Now that you are familiar with adding links to the Flexbox containers in Elementor, the next topic we are going to discuss is nesting of containers. Now, if you have been creating pages or posts or websites using Elementor, then you must be familiar with the fact that to add a section, what you have to do is first select a layout, which is basically the initial section that is defined as a section in Elementor, and then in that section you add a inner section which is again a column, and inside that inner section you have multiple columns or single columns depending on your requirement. Now in that inner section, if you want to add another inner section, you cannot do that. So what this basically means is inside of a column, you can add only a single column. Now to show you the difference, what I have done here is I have two tabs open. The first one is nesting in Flexbox, which is this one, and it has the Flexbox container active. And in the second tab, we have nesting with the sections or columns, whatever you can call it, and it has the inner section layout. Now, before I begin anything, what I am going to do is I am going to open the navigator. You can see the navigator right over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a section. I'm going to select this one. Okay, now you can see this is a column right over here. The section has a column. Okay, this is a column which is empty. I'm going to add an inner section. Now this inner section basically adds two columns, column. Now what happens if I want to add another inner section to this column or to this column? Let me try. It doesn't allow me to do that. Rather, it allows me to add this inner section on top of it or at the bottom of it. Let me just add it. Okay, now you see another inner section with two more columns. Now this is nowhere near the nesting that the Flexbox container offers. So I'm going to go back to nesting in Flexbox tab, and what I'm going to do is open the navigator right here. I'm going to click plus. I'm going to open, let's just say this one. You can see a container right over here, and the container is empty. Now what I want to do is I want to add a container in a container. Can I do that? Of course I can do that. You can see container in a container. Now what I want to do is add another container in this container. Can I do that? Yes, of course I can do that. You can see the hierarchy over here. This container contains this container contains this container. Can I add another one? Hopefully I can. Yes, I can. Okay. So now you can see it allows me to nest containers inside of containers. Now this feature makes it really easy for you to create advanced layout that involves nesting of multiple containers very easy. Okay, this is an important difference when you see the sections and the new Flexbox containers. So keep this in mind. Now that you are familiar with nesting, the next topic that we are going to touch on is the responsive controls in the new Flexbox container in Elementor. Now, when you create responsive designs, you must be familiar with the fact that it requires you to at times hide items or hide elements on a page, or at times it requires you to move them around so that those designs or that section or that page looks absolutely fine on devices with different screen sizes or smaller screen sizes. Now, the section column layout did come with some of the responsive design options which were hiding elements on certain pages. Let me show you. On certain devices, you can see right over here, you can enable or disable, you can hide certain things or certain elements on desktop, on tablet, and on mobile. And also, you were able to reverse columns for tablets and mobile. Other than that, if you had to do anything, then you had to play around with the settings. Okay, now this thing has changed with Flexbox. Now to show you the difference, what I am going to do is I am going to take you to a website or a Flexbox playground that has been created by Elementor. Now this is the Flexbox playground that has been created by Elementor themselves. Now anybody can access it. This is free to use. I'll leave the link to it in the description box below. If you want to get yourself familiar with the new Flexbox container, then make sure you check this out. You check this playground out. It contains a bunch of examples that will help you understand Flexbox better. Now, this playground also has an option for the mobile friendly side of things with the new Flexbox container. So let me take you to that and then we'll discuss it further. So right at the bottom, I think it's the ninth option. Okay, right here, you can see mobile responsive layout. Choose a custom order for each device without duplicating the content. Place the image last under the CTA button in mobile. You can see the solution is this. It should look something like this. Now to do this, what you will have to do is you will have to move this container on top of this container or this container below this CTA. So what I am going to do is I'm going to click responsive controls right over here, go to the responsive mode, then select the mobile device. Okay, then go back to that question. Okay, this is the one that we are talking about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this, go to the advanced tab, and it has the order option. It lets me select the order. One is the start and one is the end. So we'll have to move this option to the end. Now if I click start, it will bring it right on top over here, and if I will click end, it will bring it below the CTA. You see right over here, and this solves the problem. Okay, now let's go back to the desktop view. And it is just fine. This thing will look just fine. This thing will be back to normal. So Flexbox container do give you the option to basically align, reorder, size elements according to different screen sizes. So make sure you see these options, try these options. It is a very interesting thing that Elementor has introduced in 3.6, and Elementor hopefully will be pushing this thing forward. Okay, so make sure you are familiar with this. Again, I will leave the link to this playground in the description box below. Now, for those of you who are new to Elementor and Flexbox concept or to website design in general, Flexbox can be a bit confusing at first. Okay, so to get a better understanding of this, you will have to work with this concept. Once you get the hang of this concept, it is very easy. Again, it works in 1D where you will have to work on a certain element or a container at once. You cannot work through multiple components. Okay, so once one of the containers is in its place, then you can work on the other ones, which makes it really easy to work with if you understand what you are doing. Make sure you use all of these features. This is the first video that we are doing for this. This is a very brief walkthrough. This is nothing special. I've just discussed a few properties, a few differences from the sections to the Flexbox move. Now in the next videos, in the upcoming videos, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to a step further. Okay, so make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. Now this concludes everything you need to know about the Elementor 3.6 update. If you have found the video helpful, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel and turn on the post notification bell. Now in case you have any queries, feel free to comment down below and I will try and help. Also, the links to our socials and the Elementor Flexbox Playground are in the description box below. Feel free to follow us on other platforms as well. And with that said, thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video.